Hello, in a minute I'm going to show you a section that I've clipped from the Tim Pool podcast from a couple of days ago, where he goes into one of his legendary rants about the Donald Trump trial and how the deep state is using lawfare to just to cripple him. And I just find that he does seem to have this talent for being able to lay out an argument or the events, the facts, the statistics, the history, what has actually happened, lay it all out for people to go to hopefully see what is glaringly obvious, because most of us here, probably all of us at some stage, have been in the, in the dark, on the blue pilled, completely unaware of just how corrupt everything is. And hopefully most people watch this would have certainly gone through some red pilling of some sort. So if you've got a friend, family members, anyone that are just still stuck in this Trump be bad, orange man bad, this might be very useful to show them. I'm not saying it's going to wake them up straight away. It takes quite a long time to detox your body from that wretched blue pill. But it may start a process, and it might just get them thinking about, perhaps this is dodgy. And then, of course, they can think about the utter state of Joe Biden and why the media would just keep trying to run cover for him when he's so obviously done. And on him as well, by the way, but I wasn't going to mention him in this one. I would say there's not a single person alive that cares one little bit about him. They don't love him, they don't care about him, his closest family members. I think they all despise him, and that is why no one is speaking out to try to stop this farce, this charade from continuing, because that clearly is a broken, dementia-ridden man, an extremely evil one, by the way. So I don't care for him, but it is shocking to see this absolute state of it. Anyway, enjoy Tim Pool on Donald Trump.
What laws have they specifically broken in that so-called lawfare endeavor? So this is clearly malicious prosecution in a variety of ways. We have multiple cases that are malicious prosecution, and I think any reasonable human being, were it not for the culture war in this country in a hyperpolarized state, could conclude this. In New York, they changed the law to allow people to sue another person for sexual assault claims after the statute of limitations, but only for 1 year. Only this one small window. Trump instantly sued on a 30-year-old claim that can't be corroborated in any way, yet somehow a jury still says yes to. Anybody who followed that case and went through it knows the story makes no sense. It's even been challenged by people on CNN and MSNBC as being weird and making little sense. Then you have the criminal fraud trial against Trump's organization, which never committed fraud. They claimed that because Trump's filings for loans were incorrect, that's fraud, despite the fact that each and every one of those filings to the banks had a disclaimer that the information may be incorrect and it requires the due diligence of the lender. The lenders, like Deutsche Bank, said, we recognize that. We did our due diligence. We then told Trump his numbers were wrong. We agreed to give him a lesser amount towards the loan. Trump agreed. We all made money from doing this. If we could, we'd do business with him again. Still, Trump found guilty of fraud. Kevin O'Leary, a major real estate mogul, said, this is absolutely insane. No one in New York is safe if this is what they're doing. Then you get the latest hush money trial. There's literally no direct evidence that Donald Trump did anything with Stormy Daniels other than he paid Cohen, who has lied about everything. Cohen admitted to committing grand larceny in stealing, they say, at bare minimum, $60,000. But under the defense's premise that Donald Trump had no idea that Cohen took out a loan on his own home to pay off Stormy Daniels of his own volition, he didn't know that was happening. That means Cohen stole $250,000, yet they still criminally charge Trump for doing this. Now, anyone who's run a business knows it makes no sense criminally to go after the CEO for what underlings have done that he's not even signing off on. You're the CEO of a company. A mid-level manager says, we're going to pay this lawyer off. Then another manager says, or your CFO says, pay them off. And Trump's just like, sure, I'll sign the check. I don't know, whatever. It's a legal fee. Then they come back and say, you're criminally responsible for what those guys did. None of it makes any sense. But more importantly, let's go to the malicious prosecution. Alvin Bragg campaigns. I'm going to get Trump. I believe Letitia James as well You have, in the hush money case, it is a misdemeanor charge whose statute of limitations expired years ago. Falsifying business records, you're not bringing back up 8 years later, 7 years later. They claim he was trying to influence an election, but the crime happened after he already won it. So what did they do? They said, okay, but if he falsified business records in furtherance of a secondary crime, manipulating the election, then we can upgrade it to a felony. 34, in fact, for each time he signed a check. What was that underlying crime? None of us know, because the judge said the jury doesn't have to unanimously agree on any underlying crimes, just that they think something did occur and then Trump is guilty. Now, here's where it gets great. Here's the best part. I could be wrong about this, but I would assume that at the very least, to be a reasonable person, there are very rare circumstances in the United States where a prosecutor goes to a felony suspect and says, if you flip on this misdemeanor, we're going to let you off. You got a guy who admitted on the stand to committing grand larceny, stealing tens of thousands of dollars, openly admitted it. And they're like, no charges. But if you help us get this guy who falsified a business record, none of it makes sense. And it is all patently obvious malicious prosecution. Now, as to the police officers who facilitate all of this, I make no distinction and no excuses for anyone just doing their job. If you are the officer who is kidnapping someone at gunpoint under a perceived authority that does not exist, heaven help you if I'm ever in charge of law enforcement in this country. If I was the president, the FBI would bet each and every one of their doors and they'd be like, you're all going to prison. People say, oh, that's so dictatorial. What? That you don't allow cops to, I don't know, how about CBP trafficking children on the border, which they're doing and we know they're doing. It is dictatorial to stop human trafficking, to stop corrupt cops just doing their jobs. That's the bare minimum of what legal accountability is supposed to be in this country. Well, that's where we're currently at. So how are you guys doing?
So I hope you enjoyed that. If you like, you could sort of like and share and subscribe and stuff for this channel. I don't never ask for it anymore because it's just been steadily losing subscribers for the last sort of 4 years. But you know, if you like, why not? Press that button. See you.